boy, here we go. Thank God Billy D. Marlin over there has got to retire soon, right? I think Sunday's the last game because I don't know how much more you can pay a guy minimum wage and expect him to walk around in that godforsaken outfit for a team that won 12 games this year. But hey, I digress. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome in. We're excited. Say it with me, right? Thursday night football. And not only do we get Thursday night football tonight in the NFL against two of the upper echelon teams, but we get finally a Power 5 conference Thursday night game featuring I don't know if you can see it, but yes, the U. That's right. University of Miami at home, Hard Rock Stadium, getting ready to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels, who have all sorts of people back in the lineup for them. I guess those suspensions for selling sneakers and whatnot, I guess all of that has pretty much subsided, and it looks like they're almost back to full scholarship roster. So it's going to be a fun game tonight, and maybe really fun is going to be the fact that we get to talk to Ralph Michaels, the legend himself. Been telling you about him all week, guys. When it comes to sports handicapping, nobody has been more successful, has been doing it longer than WagerTalk.com's Ralph Michaels. He's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. We're going to talk about tonight's games, both in the NFL and the ACC with the University of Miami. But we're also going to talk about some of these underdogs this weekend and look to see if we can't make you a few bucks along the way. So a lot of great information coming your way. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Which reminds me, if you haven't done so, make sure you go ahead and take a look at wagertalk.com. It is your one-stop shop for everything that is sports betting, sports handicapping. It is just a plethora of knowledge all at one place. It's called wagertalk.com. And, of course, here we are broadcasting to you live on not only Twitter, but Facebook and YouTube and Periscope. And we've got every technology working in the world. We've got a whole team of engineers who are loaded right now getting ready for the game. But the bottom line is hopefully you can hear me. And if you can, it means they're doing their job. But we ask that you subscribe. How this works, certainly streaming, is that if you guys stop by, go ahead and share this, retweet it, like it, subscribe on YouTube if you get a chance, like the page on Facebook. See, the way it works is YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all of these guys, they hold us hostage. Like, they'll never promote any of our stuff unless, of course, you guys engage and like it. Even if you hate me, you can go ahead and tell me that. Just go ahead and tell me that and subscribe and hate me all you want. So we would appreciate the support, because that's how it works in the wonderful world of streaming these days. I hope your day was going well. Hope your week is going well. I mean, it's all going to culminate into a big Thursday night game, and we're all excited. Certainly, University of Miami getting ready to take the field, and we're going to talk to Ralph Michaels here in just a sec. But also keep in mind that there is some money to be made this weekend. It hasn't been a great start to the season for those of you that have not been picking underdogs, those of you that have been picking the public favorites. It hasn't been good for you, but we're hoping that we can turn that around for you and get that going. And I'm hoping Ralph Michaels from wagertalk.com is going to be able to do that. But I also want to thank our good friends over at Miami Acura for making this possible. Take a test drive, the all-new 2019 RDX. That's right, the all-new 2019 RDX at prices you didn't think were possible, but they're happening right now, end of the year. Get there, South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay. Also, phone number for those of you in the 954-561 or outside of that, 855-564-4669. That is how you reach them there, and we are so pumped up and excited here because we've got the legend. That's right. The legend is joining us here. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to do with myself. I am so. Where is he, Ralph? Excited. Hey, it's Thursday night, which means we've got a high-end college game. We've got Thursday night football with two really good teams. It's going to be a fun night, and I can't think of anybody better to bring on than our good friend from WagerTalk.com, Ralph Michaels. He's the former GM of both Phil Steele Publications and North Coast Sports. Nobody knows college hoops, college football better than Ralph. And Ralph, thanks for taking a few minutes out and hanging out with us.
Awesome. Happy to do it. And I'll tell you what, how exciting it is to be in Miami and be a football fan with both the Hurricanes and the Dolphins.
Yeah, we don't know what to do with ourselves here. It's been a long time, and everyone's waiting for the other shoe to drop there. But speaking of not having a good time, this is I can't remember the last time the public got off to such a horrendous start in the NFL. It's the first time in the last 25 years that 3 double-digit favorites have lost straight up in the first 3 weeks of the season. The public money not doing so well this year so far, Ralph.
Well, it's the public money, and let's be honest, I would say a good chunk of that public money, probably 30%, are just the Patriots fans, those people that for years have backed Brady and Belichick and have hit 60% over a 10-year span. It's absolutely amazing what the Patriots have done. They're down a few notches. I mean, they only had 3 wide receivers at the Detroit game. And when the Patriots are a team that started the way they were, the public as a whole is going to take a beating.
It's very interesting because a lot of people, listen, Minnesota Viking fans are scratching their head. They're getting ready to play tonight. We'll talk about that game coming up. But it's these major dogs, these double-digit dogs that people just love to jump on, and then all of a sudden, boom, total letdown, and the public is just scratching their head going, I don't know what to do. I mean, everything that's up is now down, Ralph.
Well, you have the Steelers winless ATS. You have New England where they are. You have the Dallas Cowboys doing what they're doing. And, we thought it was such a league of a few top teams and a few bottom teams, but we've seen this is a league of parity. And that league of parity has come back down where the teams that have had good teams for so many years are just starting to age. I think we're just going through a period that the Pittsburgh Steelers were so good for so long. New England was so good for so long. When those teams start to come back to the middle of the pack, you're going to find some value fading them and taking the underdog in those roles.
Ralph Michaels joining us at Cal Sports LV is where you can reach him on Twitter. Also, of course, wagertalk.com. Tonight here in Miami, Ralph, we finally have a Power 5 conference game for a Thursday night, a little ACC action. North Carolina's coming here to take on the Miami Hurricanes. And I look at this game, and this has got trap written all over for the Hurricanes since they have their annual rival game, Florida State, coming up. The line on this has continued to move a little bit in favor of North Carolina getting more points. They are getting some reinforcements back, North Carolina. What do you see in tonight's game?
Well, not some reinforcements, a lot of reinforcements. Nine players returned from suspension. Remember, they started that season. They had to split some of those suspensions because they had so many people involved. And the interesting thing will be is, do we see Chase Surratt? Remember, their starting quarterback from last year was one of those players suspended. He has split reps this week in practice. And I'm sure Rick has his team practicing against him because he's completely different than Nathan Elliott. Nathan Elliott is a drop-back passer. Chase Surratt is a dual threat, can run the ball, and that's a different dynamic when you're playing him. I have a question for you. I follow the Hurricanes closely.
Yes.
And now we see Perry coming in, and Perry throwing for 67% with a 6-2 ratio, while Rozier is 52%. Is a controversy starting down there?
It's funny watching who got what reps this week during practice. Malik Rozier is still getting a number of reps with the first team. So I do believe it's not going to be completely Malik Rozier for 4 quarters, but I do believe we are going to start seeing a mix and match thing happening here from Mark Richt. And there is, from what I hear, a little animosity in that locker room as far as whose team Perry and who is team Rozier. So that's going to be worth keeping an eye on, Ralph, moving forward.
Well, but the Hurricanes are going to live and die by this defense, and this defense has just been spectacular. Number 2 in the country, allowing 223 yards per game. Number 1 in the country, averaging 11.5 tackles for loss, the TFLs. And the most amazing stat to me is what the defense does on third down. They've only allowed 10 first downs in third down situations. That's an 86% success rate. That is absolutely amazing. So hats off to the incredible defense, which has held their first 3 opponents LSU, Toledo, and FIU, their first 3 FBS opponents, to season lows.
Yeah, and listen, a lot of people haven't really been on that North Carolina bandwagon. A lot of people gave Pittsburgh an awful lot of credit last week on the road going to North Carolina, and they were another one of those underdogs that pulled it off. And the trends do favor North Carolina, at least lately. Miami 1-6 against the spread in the past 7 versus the ACC, and North Carolina being 4-0 against the spread in the past 4 ACC games. So there are some trends pointing towards North Carolina at 17.5, almost 18 now.
Well, again, college football and the NFL, there's a lot to do with what have you done for me lately. And you look at Pittsburgh, you look at what Pittsburgh's done, and everything is an overreaction to what they've done the week before. North Carolina was off the upset loss to East Carolina. Well, East Carolina was off an upset loss to an FCS team. So people were throwing East Carolina in the trash. They're not that bad of a team. They're just a team that was missing a lot of pieces with their suspensions. And, here's a stat for Mark Richt. Mark Richt is 7-0 straight up and against the spread. If he's off a double-digit win like he is, and his conference opponent is off an upset loss. So when Mark Richt is in the position to beat someone off that upset, he's done it each of the last 7 times.
Woo! See, that's why we love Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. Also, wagertalk.com. That's where you can find him. All right, I got to get to another. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night because I do think there is some value in these games that are being played tomorrow night. I don't know. I'm a Chip Kelly fan. I may be the only one left here on the East Coast, but I'm looking at a Colorado team who is 3-0, but their first 3 opponents are a combined 1-10. They've played nobody, while UCLA is playing the big boys, even though it hasn't gone as well as Chip has hoped. I do think there is some value here, certainly on the money line at plus 320, plus 330 with UCLA. I think they've got better athletes.
Well, they do have better athletes. They're in that area of the of SoCal where they continue to have top 10 recruiting classes, but that's how much they've underachieved. Listen, Chip Kelly's offense is very, very difficult to learn, and they are trying to learn it with 5 offensive linemen all playing new positions. They have a true freshman center. William Spake got hurt, the Michigan transfer, so they went to Dorian Thomas-Robinson. He's a true freshman. When you have a true freshman quarterback and a true freshman center trying to learn a difficult offense, you're not going to look good against anyone early. They did go to Oklahoma, lost by 28 points, but they only outgained by 102 yards. I think UCLA this week, Spate is back. They're splitting carries. The offensive line is getting a little more in sync. They're starting to learn that system anymore. And I agree with you. You look at what Colorado did. Well, remember, Colorado went to face Nebraska. Yeah. Nebraska was supposed to have played Akron, and that game got lightninged out. So you had a true freshman Martinez making his first start against Colorado. That's not a good situation to be in without a game under your belt.
I agree. I'm with you. There is definitely some value in that game tomorrow night, Colorado, UCLA. Some of the other big news, Ralph, that we heard college football-wise, Dabo made the decision to go with the better quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence, as good as Kelly Bryant has been, and Kelly Bryant, I said this yesterday, he'd be a quarterback that University of Miami would take in a heartbeat. He'd be a starting quarterback on a lot of teams, but unfortunately, as good as he was, Trevor Lawrence has been great, and we're looking at a 4 to 4.5 point swing here ever since they announced that he'd be the starting quarterback. Are we giving too much value here to Clemson and to Trevor Lawrence and not spending enough time talking about their game against Syracuse?
Well, we've seen a few young quarterbacks that you can tell are completely legit. Trevor Lawrence, you look at the Ohio State situation, those quarterbacks are making throws that most quarterbacks don't. They're a different level of quarterback. And really now, in the modern day and age, these quarterbacks are going to be successful from their peewee days. They go through special trainings. They go through special diets. They start going to these quarterback camps when they're freshmen in high school, and they're just built differently. And Trevor Lawrence is the real deal. Clemson started the season 0-3 ATS because they couldn't get in sync on the offensive side, going back and forth between those quarterbacks. We saw last week at Georgia Tech, the offense did what they had to. The defense continues to do what they have to, and they got the cover last week. I think it's the right move. Dabo Swinney did the right thing sitting down with Kelly Bryant, talking about him transferring out now that he has the 3 games under his belt. It counts as a redshirt year. That makes him eligible for next year. And the team that I picked him to go to was actually UCLA under Chip Kelly. We'll see what happens.
Interesting. And there's, listen, hats off to Dino Babers and what he's been able to do here at Syracuse. He's got a quarterback in Dungy that has been on fire lately, who's believing. Nobody plays a better fast tempo than what Syracuse does, and that's worked very well for them thus far. Did you expect this from Syracuse, or was this is this a pleasant surprise, what you've seen from them so far?
Well, Dino Babers runs a very tough offense as well to learn. It's very pass-happy. The quarterbacks and wide receivers have to be in sync. We saw the same progression when he was at Bowling Green in his 3rd year. It takes a couple years for him to get his players in. It takes a couple years for the system to be entirely comfortable to the players, and we've seen the success. Now, you look at who they played. Yes, they beat Western Michigan. They played Wagner. We know Florida State is down a notch, and then they blow out Connecticut. You want to talk about a team that hasn't played anyone. Although they're playing well, I give Clemson the edge here. You now have one quarterback trying to get trying to put up great numbers. You have the Clemson defense doing what they do best, get pass rushes. They already have 16 sacks on the year. And, again, Syracuse only making their 2nd road start this year. Their first was at Western Michigan. I think there's a little difference between Kalamazoo and Clemson, South Carolina.
Yeah, just a little. Ralph Michaels joining us, wagertalk.com. Make sure you check him out on Twitter, at CalSportsLV. And one more college game before we head to tonight's NFL game. I'm sorry. People are high on the Texas Longhorns, and I'm not buying the Texas Longhorns. I'm certainly not buying them on the road. Kansas State, and having Kansas State get 8.5, 9 points, whichever way you look at it there. Where are you on Texas? How do you view what's going on with the program and Tom Herman?
Obviously, having been from Cleveland and an Ohio State fan, I followed Texas very closely and what Tom Herman did in Houston. Remember, this is now Herman's 2nd year. He has top 10 recruiting classes, and no one has underachieved more than Texas the previous several years with the top 10 recruiting class each year. What I do like is their defense is doing what they have to do. They allowed 16 first downs at home against USC, 16 first downs at home against TCU. The Maryland game was something that just bit them again for a 2nd straight year. We won't talk about that. But I do have a concern with Ellinger on the road. He is a different quarterback. It's so much easier to play at home in prime time with 100,000 people screaming as you back. Now, Kansas State isn't one of the worst places to play at. They don't quite have the fan base as some of the other Big Ten teams. But Bill Snyder is 14-5 as a home dog. And what does he do? He does exactly what you need to do. He slows the pace down. He'll run only 60 plays a game, very methodical. Skylar Thompson is their 2nd leading rusher, 176 yards, completing 59%. As long as they don't turn the ball over, they do have to get help on the sacks. Kansas State quarterbacks have been sacked 14 times this year, but Texas has not gotten pressure. Texas's defense on the year only has 4 sacks. 3 of them came in the USC game. So as long as Kansas State doesn't get pressure, which Texas hasn't been able to do, I agree that it's going to be a low-scoring game. And anytime I get a Bill Snyder coach team in a lower-scoring game as a home dog, I'm a fan of the Purple Wildcats.
I love it. All right, Ralph Michaels joining us. And I wanted to ask strategy here for a second because we've gotten this question a number of times. You have a team like Old Dominion coming off a 632-yard performance against Virginia Tech last week. And there is that philosophy of buying teams off of big offensive games, especially when they're going to be, I think, underdogs the following week. So what are your thoughts on that philosophy, looking at an Old Dominion team here who's also going to be getting points this weekend here? Is this a contrarian bettor's dream somewhere to look at with Old Dominion?
Well, again, you want to talk about look what you've done for me lately. Remember, this game was at home. Remember, Stephen Williams was a very young quarterback. He's only 19 years old in his second year. He skipped a year of high school. He struggled. They went to Blake LaRousse the last game. It was a surprise against Virginia Tech, and he threw for 495 yards at home. But let's remember, this Old Dominion team is on the road this week. This is the same Old Dominion team that went to Liberty to start the season, lost 52-0. They're a first-year FBS team. They went to Charlotte the game before Virginia Tech, a third-year FBS team. They lost that game 28-25. Now, East Carolina, in my book, doesn't deserve to be a favorite of anyone yet, but I'll tell you what, in the third season there, Scotty Montgomery has them playing well. Their defense has improved by over 200 in yards per game and 20 points per game. They played North Carolina. They beat them 41-19, only allowed 395 yards. They went to South Florida and only allowed 296 yards. Old Dominion, I think, is a letdown going on the road. East Carolina's defense is greatly improved. I actually back the Pirates in this game.
Oh, there you go. See, that's why we talked to him. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Make sure that you visit him, too, on Twitter, at CalSportsLV. All right, Ralph, tonight we NFL dream. The darlings of the public now, the Rams. Everybody loves the Rams. And people, recency bias, they can only remember the damn Buffalo Bills spanking the Minnesota Vikings at home. It's what's on top of their mind. You're looking at 7.5 points, 7.5, depending on the book right now, going into tonight's game. Is this one of those classic coming off of a bad beatdown at home, don't undervalue the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, I think so, but it's a game that I'm waiting to see because I don't know. You know, a lot of times just because we handicap as a living and we do this professionally, it doesn't mean we have a strong opinion on any play. I can tell you this. Teams that have lost as a double-digit favorite at home and then have gone on the road and been a dog or 4 or more are actually 14-5 against the spread. Well, that makes sense because the NFL is a league of parity. But then you also look at the Rams. You look at who they've played, 3 teams whose defense is ranked 20 or higher. Well, Minnesota is still a top 10 defense. So to me, if I had to pick a side, it would be on the Vikings to bounce back. Again, before the season, some people had the Vikings as the best team in the league. You know, right now we all know it's the Rams, but the Rams are taking a step up in who they've played. Although it's very tough to be that road team on Thursday night, I would still have to back the Vikings.
Yeah, and Zimmer's usually pretty good in this position, especially getting points on the road. So it'll be a fun game to watch. And this week also very unique in the NFL, Ralph, where I do believe we have been offered the lowest and the highest NFL over-under totals so far. You have the Jets in Jacksonville and Seattle and Arizona hovering around 38.5 to 39. And then you look at the Chiefs and Broncos, and you're looking at 56.5. All of those numbers would be the highest and lowest if they hold true so far this year. So what is there a team or a game there that you go, yeah, this is pretty easy?
I actually do like the the Jacksonville Jets game under the total. You know, both defenses are top 10. People don't talk about that Jets defense. You know, we talked off the air that you're a Jets fan and you think you have the quarterback you need. Well, you know, the first game against Detroit, people didn't know what to expect as Sam Darnold as an NFL quarterback. We've seen DCs have been able to study film the next few weeks and have been able to slow them. I think Jacksonville, off that embarrassing loss to Tennessee, holds the Jets to under 300 yards. I think Jacksonville's offense with Fournette still out or banged up is going to struggle again. And unders, when you have an NFL total since 2014 of 39.5 or under, they have gone under 58% of the time. So don't be swayed because there's so many high numbers. I think they can't make the number low enough sometimes when you have these rare group of teams. There's only about 6 or 8 of them that fall into that category. But when they play each other, the NFL just doesn't want to go down to that 37-38 mark. So you get these 39.5s, And even though it's a low number, I still think there's value to the under. On the other side, Kansas City's defense has been historically bad. They gave up 33 first downs each of the first 2 weeks. No one in the history of the NFL in the last 40 years has given up 32 or more first downs in back-to-back games. They gave up 33 first downs in back-to-back games. They're allowing 31 first downs. So when you have an offense like Mahomes that's clicking, you have a historically bad defense, I would still lean to the over, even though it's a historic high number. So both ends of it, I think a lot of times the NFL doesn't get to where they want to, and they've shied a few points, and there's value with both the high totals and the low unders.
Yep, that's some great stuff there. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Which of the teams that are currently undefeated, Ralph, do you think have the best chance of still being undefeated come Monday?
Well, that would be Alabama.
Yeah, well, no, forget you can count on Alabama. Yeah, I'm trying to cater to the Dolphin fans here. I mean, dude, is it the Dolphins, the Chiefs, is it the Rams? Is it which one of these undefeated teams do you think will still be undefeated come Monday? We know Alabama is going to be undefeated.
Well, I thought it was a trick question. I look at Miami, and I think that New England's in a must-win situation. I favor the Patriots in that. And, I'm a Rams fan, although why I said because the situation dictates that. Listen, if you have the best team in the NFL, you're at home, a team has to travel on a short week on Thursday to play you, you have the best offense and one of the best defenses in the football, I think the Rams are that good where, they're going to win this game. And I don't think they're going to lose the game unless a team plays a perfect game against them at home. And Minnesota just hasn't shown me on offense they're that good. I think it'll be a little lower scoring than people expect, but I clearly think that the Rams are the team to come out and win this week.
Well, there you go. And for more great information, you want to hear from Ralph Michaels, you can visit him, wagertalk.com. Best way to do it, one of the best Twitter accounts around, @CalSportsLV, @CalSportsLV. It's on the screen. Make sure you visit him. And we appreciate your time, Ralph. Thank you so much for coming by, hanging out with us. Best of luck this week, and I can't wait to do this again soon.
It's always a pleasure. I love South Florida, and I'm glad you guys have some football teams to follow because I know the following hasn't been great the last few years, so congrats.
Yeah, that's good because we can wipe the stink off the Marlins now, so we appreciate that. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Thank you, Ralph.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, make sure you check them out, wagertalk.com. That is how you get the legend. That is right, the legend, Ralph Michaels. Some really great stuff there. In fact, we've got a few more games that we're going to go over coming up this weekend. We've got a couple of parlay suggestions. We're going to do a little deeper dive into what are we looking at tonight between the Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. What do the trends say? What do the numbers tell us about the situation? We'll go over that, and this is one of my favorite things. The NFL has just released a video to try and help better explain what a roughing the passer penalty should look like and what it shouldn't look like. I can't make this up. You guys might have heard earlier in the week after the bevy of flags on the Thursday night game with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Monday night game rather between the Steelers and the Tampa Bay Bucks. There was a lot of grumblings, a lot of people in the league very upset with the refs and the flags and the roughing the passer. So they're looking to try and help clarify exactly what roughing the passer looks like and what you can and can't do. I will play this video for you. So it's priceless. When I tell you it is priceless, and it actually, I don't think it clarifies anything. You're going to watch this video and go, I'm lost. Like, I'm even more lost now than I was watching that Monday night game. So that'll be a lot of fun. We'll play that for you coming up, but we do have got to take just a short break and thank our good friends and sponsors there at Miami Acura, 16601 South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay. For those of you in the 305, you know where they are. Go take a test drive. The all-new 2019 RDX. The car drives itself. Not to mention mention, once you see the price that you're going to pay walking out the door with that car, you are just going to love it. You're going to love me. You're going to thank them for making it possible to go get that all-new, brand-new 2019, completely redesigned RDX. It truly is an experience. Take it for a test drive. Miami Acura, South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay, or call them at 855-564-4669. That's 855-564-4669. We also want to send a shout out to our partners, Low Cost Airlines. If you're planning on traveling anytime soon, go check them out. And Superior Cruise and Travel. Nobody's got better deals on cruises than Superior Cruise and Travel. We'll play that NFL how to and how not to hit a quarterback. We'll play that instructional video for you. That is coming up next.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. That's 800-293-0328.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. That's 800-764-9168.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. That's 800-761-1427.
Get ready to talk sports. It's the Say It With Me podcast. Now here's your host, Joe Raineri.
Yeah, that's right. Say it with me. Thursday night football, just a couple of hours away, and we are excited. We got the U getting ready to take the field tonight, Hard Rock Stadium. Little ACC matchup, taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels, who have all of those sneaker-selling turd bags back in the rotation and in the lineup. They do have most everyone who's suspended back in now, including their starting quarterback. So this is going to be a fun game to watch. Certainly, it's going to be a great test for the Miami Hurricanes. We're going to see exactly who they're going to go with at quarterback. I think we're going to see a lot of both quarterbacks, that being N'Kosi Perry and and Malik Rozier. I think we're going to go back and forth. I think Rick is going to test both of them. Depending on how this game goes will depend on who finishes this game. But the current line right now, courtesy of uwager.com, it looks like about 17 and a half. It's going back and forth. So there's a lot of value on the North Carolina team tonight, who has done pretty well in this matchup. Over the last 5, I believe they're 4-1 in the last 5 against the Miami Hurricanes, against the spread. Also keep this in mind, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, though. This is a Thursday night college game, and pretty much, I believe, what is the number? About 68% of the unders hit on a Thursday night short week college game, and the over-under is hovering around 57, 58. So that might be the play of the night right there. Look at the under in this game when you're with the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Miami Hurricanes. Very often on a Thursday night, college football teams, their offenses aren't lighting it up, and it usually becomes a defensive battle. So the under might be a very, very wise play at 58.5. All right, I had mentioned to you guys the Miami Acura hotline, 855-WTF-2255. If you have any questions, you need any advice, certainly when it comes to fantasy football, because the fantasy god, Matt Latufsky, will be joining us just after the top of the hour, doing a whole stardom sit-em for you. So if you have some questions, you're stuck, who do you play tonight, who don't you play tonight, and, who should your starting running backs be over the weekend, stay tuned for that coming up just after in about 24 minutes. We'll have Matt Latufsky join us and get you all caught up in everything that you need to know daily fantasy-wise. But I want to play this video for you because the NFL just doesn't – it absolutely amazes me. If you didn't catch the game on Monday night, the amount of roughing the passer penalties was over the top in that game, and a lot of people were scratching their head. In fact, the NFL Competition Committee had a meeting. They had a conference call to discuss the enforcement of roughing the passer rules, and they wanted a specific they wanted to address it from the standpoint of the player using the body weight. And because that was really the biggest problem, we witnessed a Miami Dolphin player, defensive lineman William Hayes, ends up blowing his knee out against the Raiders over the weekend. Why? Because he tried to contort himself in a way that he would not after sacking or, wrapping up Derek Carr, where he wouldn't land on top of him, but rather tried to twist his body in a way that he wouldn't land on top of Derek Carr. And then what happened, of course, is he blew his knee out. And you're asking 300-pound guys to twist themselves up in a way that is not normal, not to them, not to anybody that's ever played the game. You're getting a locomotive coming who's taught since birth that the object of the game, if you're going to be a defensive lineman, is to get the damn quarterback. And once you get to him, now you've got to start to think, what in the hell am I going to do? That is how guys are going to blow legs out. This is how guys are going to get hurt. And quite honestly, this is how more and more of us are going to shy away from watching these games, because it's ridiculous, especially if it's your team who's getting flagged for a guy doing exactly what he's supposed to do. You realize these defensive linemen, these tonight, Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, you're going to be watching guys that get paid boatloads of money, and their only job is to make sure they get to the quarterback. And now what's happening is they're getting to the quarterback, and the league is saying, well, you can get to him, but you really just have to be careful on how you land on him. And I think we can all agree that it's fairly simple to watch a quarterback getting sacked and see if there was intent behind the lineman or the linebacker or the defender making sure that they landed as hard as they could with all of their body weight on top of the quarterback. And I get it. I know why you're doing it. We all know why you're doing it, NFL. But the reality is a lot of the flags that have been thrown are not situations where you would look at it and go, he meant to do that. It was just heat of the moment, what happened. These guys just landed awkwardly. We've all seen the replays of those, Warren Sapp moves where they're going to do everything in their power to put as much body weight on the driving them into the ground. We know that, but unfortunately, that's not what we've seen a lot of. A lot of the flags are surrounding by guys who just can't stop that 320 pounds of beef from falling on top of a guy, and flags are coming out all over the place. So they decided in this conference call that they were going to review the video of the rushing the passer fouls from both this season and even dating back to last year. They were going to try to figure out whether or not they need to adjust the rule. Now, they decided against adjusting anything at this point. They said to ensure consistency in officiating the rule, the committee has clarified techniques that constitute a foul. So this is where the video comes in. So I'm just going to play the video for you. You take a look, and you tell me if you are any closer to understanding what in the hell the NFL thinks is a legit sack here. So let's see if we can get this played. The hell, yeah, here we go. This is not legit. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Well, this is what caused Aaron Rodgers to miss most of last year. Okay, we got that. All right, here's another one. Oh, they're circling. Okay. And also, okay, driving the shoulder in. That might also be considered a foul. Okay. So far, so good, guys. You understanding it? Okay, watch this now. Okay. All right. So how is that a foul? Can somebody explain that to me? How is that a foul? You're flagging that? Yeah, there we go. Oh, something else now. Oh, that is purposely laying as much. Now, we get these. See, I mean, it's interesting that they put these in the video. Here we go. Green Bay taking on Oakland when Oakland used to be good. Are they going to circle somebody here in this part of the video? Oh, okay, outside. So you've got two guys from the outside getting ready to rush in. Oh, and okay. Now, how is that a flag? How do you consider that a flag? How are you supposed to stop at 245 pounds like that and not fall on him? Okay, this is, all right. Okay, that's a flag? Really? How is that a flag? Yeah, here we go. And also, yep, this is also a flag. See, some of these I can see we're spot on, but some of these you've got to look at and go, how in the hell is that a flag? Like, what is he supposed to do with the quarterback at that particular point? Like, you're driving him. The force is driving him back, and that was well done, NFL, the way you circled and that. I would say that half of the videos there, half of the clips that you saw there were legitimate roughing the passer calls that probably would have been called at any particular point during any season. But some of those, you have guys that are full speed ahead and end up making contact with the quarterback, and there's no way you can control 250 pounds going that fast where you can't fall forward, and that's what's happening, or even on the side. So I don't know if that was supposed to clear it up. It didn't clear it up for me. It actually made it a hell of a lot worse, because I truly don't know what you would consider to be a legit sack now or not a legit sack, and what is a roughing the passer and what's not. They're only continuing to confuse the issue by releasing things like this, I think, anyway. There were 5 or 6 in there. I would say, you know what, definitely roughing the passer, but there were also 5 or 6 that ran through in that were not in my book. And if that's the direction we're going in the NFL, we're gonna have some problems there. Want to say hello to let's see what we got. We got Jeffrey's in here, Jeremy's in here. John's in here. Stephanie is in here. Jackie is in here. We want to welcome you guys into another edition of the Joe Raineri Show. They are hanging out with us here today in the chat rooms across all the platforms that we're streaming: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Streaming is a beautiful thing because we get to hang out with you guys the whole time, and we love doing that, and you guys get to communicate with us. We get to communicate back with you, so we love that. So welcome in, guys. Your participation and you coming here means a lot to us. It truly, truly does. We appreciate that. All right, tonight's the games. Oh, actually, I wanted to get to this, too. Don't forget, tomorrow, Tiger Woods going to be the anchor for the U.S. as they begin to battle in the Ryder Cup, taking on Europe and France, I believe. 42nd edition of the Ryder Cup at Le Golf National. Le Golf, that's correct. Le Golf National. We do have some of the pairings that have been released. I also have some of the odds that I think are also very interesting that we want to take a look at, including Tiger Woods being partnered up with Patrick Reed tomorrow. And this is going to happen, so those of you that don't know, on the East Coast, these tee times are going to happen about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning is when these guys are going off because of the time difference. And Patrick Reed and Tiger Woods are bringing up the rear. They're anchoring the 4-ball tomorrow. They're going up against Francisco Molinari and Tommy Fleetwood for the Europe team. And Tommy Fleetwood, if you guys follow golf outside of Tiger Woods, Tommy Fleetwood, here's a guy that can go out and shoot 61, 60, 59. He can shoot 12 under, no problem. He has been a force this year. And Francisco Molinari, major champion winner. We know this guy has been there and done that. That is a tough pairing. That's what Europe considers to be their go-to pairing, taking on Tiger Woods and Patrick Reed. Now, Vori's in there. What's going on, Vori? It's a pleasure to see you, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. You too, Jeremy. Welcome in. The line that we have right now, Tiger Woods and Patrick Reed, that combination, it is plus 500 for a tie. All right, that's plus 500. Now, I'm going to tell you, ties are like kissing your sister. Other ties are like, well, you're kissing somebody else's sister. So I understand that. This one, I think, is a lot closer to kissing somebody else's sister than your own, because plus 500, this is not a walk in the park for Tiger Woods and for Patrick Reed. Francisco Molinari, Tommy Fleetwood, to half this plus 500, I could definitely see that happening. I don't see either one of these two teams having a clear advantage over the other. So if you're going to give me 5-1, and that will have an all-square match by the end of it, I'll take 5-1 on that all day long. That was one of the first things that popped out to me. But you know what's going to happen here, and you know what the books are going to look at. They're going to say, people are going to be riding high, recency bias off of Tiger Woods' victory in the final PGA event just last weekend. People are going to think he's unstoppable. But this is a totally different animal here in the Ryder Cup, one that Tiger Woods hasn't necessarily played great in over the years. Even when he was winning majors, it wasn't as if Tiger Woods was a guarantee in the Ryder Cup. And Patrick Reed is a bulldog. I'm rooting for them. But I got to tell you, at 5-1, we always talk about trying to find some value here. I can tell you at 5-1, there is value and a really good chance that that match could be tied at the end of 18. Also, Rory McIlroy and Thorborn? I can't even pronounce it. Holy Christ, what is this? Thorbjorn Olsen. I never even heard of this guy. Hold on, let me see what this is. Let's see. Rory McIlroy, Thorbjorn Olsen to win. Now, who are they playing? Let's look at that. Let's see who they're. Dustin Johnson and Ricky Fowler will be going up against Rory and Thorbjorn. I can't ever bet on a guy whose name is 47 consonants and a couple of vowels. I can't even pronounce it, so there's no way that I can actually bet on him. But it's plus 150 that they will end up beating Dustin Johnson and Ricky Fowler, two of our best, really. One guy can hit the ball, 400 miles. The other guy certainly brought his game around towards the end of the season. So Rory and Thorbjorn to win, yeah, I'm not buying it. I got no problem laying money down on Dustin Johnson and Ricky Fowler there. The other interesting number I like is the day one winner being the USA, plus 105. And I'll give the advantage to the U.S. side. I do. I do think that the U.S. opening up with Brooks Koepka and Tony Finau going up against Justin Rose and John Ram. These are all Jordan Spieth and also Justin Thomas taking on Paul Casey and Tyrell Hatton. That's the 2:40 in the morning pairing. That's the third four-ball to go off, and the fourth will be Patrick Reed and Tiger Woods. I do think that the U.S., I could see them going 2-1-1 in this. I do think the U.S. has a very good chance of walking away, winning this 2.5 to 1.5 or 2-1-1. So I would also take that bet. Plus 105, the USA winning it after day one, or at least having more points than what the European team is. This is going to be fun, though. I got to tell you, the atmosphere is going to be pretty crazy there. I don't know that in France they're going to be able to equal the kind of excitement that you get here at the States, especially if you're playing at like Bethpage Black or some along those lines out in Long Island. I'm not quite sure that you're going to have the same type of in your ear, in your face kind of fan base that are walking the course there. I could be wrong, but I don't think we're going to see what we've usually seen here in the United States when this event comes around. What do we got here, Vori? Wants to know, why are you wearing that no spread covering team garbage ass shirt, my friend? Damn, dude, you throwing bombs in here already for against the U, huh? Look at that. As a matter of fact, in case I got to post that again for us there. Look at that. Why are you wearing that no spread covering team garbage ass shirt? My word. I love it, Vori. Would it have been better if I wore the no spread covering team garbage ass shirt and it had a Raiders logo on it? Would that be okay? Vori, I love it. He's one of the biggest Raider fans here that follows us each and every day, and we love his support. Vori, I love you, but Raider fans can't be throwing You can't be throwing shade towards the University of Miami, who in all likelihood is not going to cover tonight, too, at 17.5 points. But I like the under a heck of a lot better. I think that's the better bet across the board. I'm still not convinced who the quarterback is going to be for the University of Miami tonight, and nothing like a little competition, so maybe Malik Rozier got a little fire lit under his ass, or maybe. That could be maybe. But we're going to have to see exactly how that goes. I'm not sure who's going to get most of the snaps tonight. I do think we're going to see both of them going back and forth, and I think 17.5 points, it can be done. It certainly can be done, certainly from the defensive side, but I am not 100% convinced that we're going to be dealing with an offensive juggernaut by either one of these teams tonight, where they're going to be able to go over 57, 58 points, which is where it lays out right now. All right, let's go to the phones here, and hopefully we're going to be able to get our man Matt Latufsky, sportingnews.com, who's going to join us for a little fantasy talk. Let's check in, see who we got here. Welcome in, WTF Sports TV. Who's this?
Hello. Hey, it's Matt, ready to talk fantasy.
I love it. It is Matt Latufsky, right on time. That is what I am talking about. So you crazies in the chat rooms right now, get your fantasy questions going. Nobody does fantasy better than Matt Latufsky. And thank you, Matt, of course, for dropping by and hanging out with us here, trying to help our lineups a little bit, which is pretty damn important. And I got to tell you, Matt, it was an interesting week last week, fantasy-wise. Again, I know a lot of people that rode that Fitzpatrick train once again heading into Monday night, and it ended up putting them over the top, for the week there because they went with it, and I know other people are kicking themselves because they ended up leaving Matt Ryan on the bench over there. Was there any big surprises to you last week that you go, wow, I didn't see that coming?
Oh, I mean, I think it's easily Kenyon Drake. Oh. I mean, 5 carries, 3 yards. Come on. What's going on? And it's facing, the worst run defense in the league based on yards per carry. That one shocked me. And, now we're sitting here going into week 4, and anyone who drafted Drake second, third round hates him, absolutely doesn't want to play him no matter what. And I'm sitting here going, you know what? I think he bounces back, but no one trusts me. No one wants to believe me. So I don't blame him, quite frankly. I don't blame him, but That was, I think, without question, kind of the biggest shocker of the, in addition to just like the big Josh Allen playing well against the Vikings and Latavius Murray doing nothing and some things like that in that Bills-Vikings game. That was just a total fiasco.
Yes, it was an absolute mess there on a lot of levels. Matt Letusky, sportingnews.com, fantasy god, joining us here. Is it Patrick Mahomes? Just ride him until you don't have to ride him anymore. I know some people are they're locking him in, but there are some that are also waiting and saying he's not going to be able to sustain this historic pace. The Kansas City defense has been awful. I think average giving up or allowing 33 first downs a game the last couple of weeks. So Patrick Mahomes has to be this good. Otherwise, Kansas City won't be that good. But there is a time where he's going to run into a wall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no one sustains this kind of pace. Everyone has a bad game at some point. And I think with Mahomes, though, he's locked in the lineups. There's no question about that. This week's going to be a good test. I think a Monday night in Denver. Denver's defense isn't what it used to be. It's not great anymore. It's good. It's not great. And this will still be a test, though, for him, given the environment, given the situation. But, at this point, I can't imagine benching him against anyone, against the Jaguars, against anyone. I mean, he's in the lineup. He's got to throw. He's as talented, maybe, as anyone in the league. And he's going to run into a game, though. He'll throw some picks. He'll make some mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But as of right now, with the weapons he has, I mean, he's just looking like a sure thing almost every week.
A lot of questions that we've been getting, Matt, regarding the 0-3 start for the Texans. A lot of people have been giving up on Deshaun Watson, even though, to me, last couple of games, Will Fuller, to me, is the answer for Deshaun Watson. As long as Will Fuller is out on the field and he is healthy, his availability makes Watson that much better. And I do think he's kind of shedded the rust here over the last couple of weeks. I think we're going to see a different Deshaun Watson moving forward here. What do you think? Is it time to give up and sell him, or is it time to hold on to him and here he goes?
No, I mean, look, even though they obviously haven't won and it hasn't been quite like last year, his numbers are still okay. I mean, what he did last week, certainly, he's going to get these touchdowns. I mean, obviously, he's kind of got the Russell Wilson thing where he's being hampered by a poor offensive line. That's not good. I don't know if it's going to get better, but I think for fantasy purposes, he's still going to put up numbers. He's got 2 stud receivers and some pretty good receiving backs that I think helps his cause. And we haven't even seen him really break out the legs yet and put up rushing totals. So I'm fine with Deshaun Watson. He's definitely not a guy I'm looking to sell. I might snip around, actually, if the Watson owner is looking to sell, see if I can get him for cheap. But, yeah, I think he's going to be good.
What about, and this was it was not many people talked about this, but I thought it was very telling at the end of the Indianapolis game where their idea of a Hail Mary was take Andrew Luck off the field and put in Jacoby Brissett. Should that send red flags to Andrew Luck owners that, wait a minute, they had plenty of time to get that ball downfield, and instead of having him throw it downfield, they kept throwing these 5-yard outs. Do you think that's a warning flag for Andrew Luck owners?
Well, I mean, it was definitely emasculating for Andrew Luck. I felt bad. I mean, it's one thing to do that to Case Keenum, right? Be like, hey, we're pulling you for the big arm backup. But Andrew, I mean, I don't know. That was a sad moment, I think, for all of us watching. But, I think, yes, it's tied into the fact that his yards per attempt was like 4.1 in that game. He can't make all the throws. Like, I think that's pretty obvious. They said in the preseason, his fastball is not quite there. I think it still isn't. He's been okay. T.Y. Hilton's made some big plays. He's got, his tight ends that caught some touchdowns. I don't think it's all over for Andrew Luck by any means. But in terms of that high upside, explosive starter that so many people have at quarterback with the likes of Mahomes and some other guys, I don't know if he's that guy. I think he's okay. He's fine. He'll get you 200 and a couple touchdowns. Some games more. Some games only 1 touchdown. But, yeah, to me, he's right on that bubble every week. As of right now, probably in a vacuum, he's probably outside the top 12, making him a fantasy backup depending on matchups. So, I'm not super high on him right now, but yeah, it'd be nice if he could throw the ball downfield.
Yep, there it is. Matt Letusky, sportingnews.com, joining us. Fantasy questions. You guys in the chat rooms, you know where to go. Send them in to us here. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube live streaming across all of those platforms. And for those that had Jimmy Garoppolo on their team, is C.J. Beathard, is that a viable option in your opinion, or should people look elsewhere?
I mean, I can't imagine he will be. I mean, he was bad last year. We saw it. It's just, this is one of those things where that happens, and you just write off Garoppolo, fine, drop him, moving on. But it's the fallout, right? It's the Marquise Goodwin that everyone loved before the year, and you worry about him. With Kittle as a tight end, him and Beathard were teammates in college, and we always liked that narrative. It was the Andrew Luck to Kobe Fleener we heard about every year. So I don't know if that's real or not, but I think it hurts Kittle's value. The one guy I think it really helps, though, is Matt Breida, who's already tied for the league lead in rushing, even though he's not getting a ton of touches. And in Beathard's time last year, which was, 7 games, give or take, he threw to running back 76 times. Like, this guy loves to check down. And, Alfred Morris is not a great pass-catching back, so I actually think it hurts the 49ers offense. There'll probably be more guys in the box to stop that running game, but I think Breida could really start doing some damage as a receiver. So in PPR leagues especially, I could see his value going up.
Yeah, a lot of people very concerned with what's going on in Cincinnati. Giovanni Bernard was a little banged up in that game, didn't quite have the output a lot of people hoped he'd have. We're still not sure exactly what's happening with Joe Mixon. The running game in Cincinnati, it's just either one of those guys at this point. It's probably better just to stay away from them.
Well, this week anyway, especially if Mixon is out, I like Bernard this week just because he's facing a Falcons team that the past 2 weeks have allowed 25 receptions to Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara. I think this is a game where he's going to do damage at least that way. I mean, the Falcons are so banged up on defense. It's just tough for them to keep up. And Bernard, we know he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So I still like him this week. But if Mixon comes back, that just complicates everything. So this is probably a week you just want Mixon to be out one more, come back next week, then reassess, because Bernard is in position for a good game this week.
All right, let's check it out here. We'll go to the mailbag. We got some questions. First one coming in from Jeff. He needs a PPR flex. Is it Kerryon Johnson, Austin Eckler, or Doug Baldwin?
Obviously Baldwin might not play. I'm still skeptical. I think between those backs, it's Johnson. And Dallas is just a different defense when Sean Lee is out, without question. Like, I'm not sold on Johnson just because of last week by any means. LeGarrette Blount's still there. He'll still get the goal line carries. The problem, too, with Eckler, I think, is you look at when he produces, it's usually when the Chargers are trailing. And he gets some of that, quasi-garbage time. And he also produced when Melvin Gordon was out. Well, Melvin Gordon's healthy. They're the biggest favorite of the week at 10.5 points. You don't figure they'll be garbage time. I think it's tough to depend on him to produce. With Johnson, hey, he's going to get the carries, a decent amount, at least a dozen, and he's facing a team without, the key to their defense in Sean Lee.
Matt Letusky, sportingnews.com, fantasy guru, joining us. Stardom, Sidham, the questions coming in. All right, here's a Giants fan, obviously. Wants to know, with Ingram out, is it wise to start Odell Beckham Jr. and Sterling Shepard in the same lineup?
Yeah, this week it is. I mean, they're playing the Saints. Saints are giving up the most fantasy points to wide receivers by a long shot. And, you can say, Marshawn Lattimore, he's a shutdown corner. Well, they haven't shut down anyone this year, and OBJ can produce against anyone. And then you look at Shepard going against their number twos. I mean, that's going to be a bloodbath. So I'm all in on both those guys this week. I think Shepard is going to be, like if you're playing DraftKings or FanDuel or something like that, I think Shepard's going to be like in every lineup, and especially in cash games. And I think it's a smart play.
Yeah. How about we got another one coming in here? Should I? Is it okay to use Alex Collins with Buck Allen in the same lineup as a kind of wait and see with Kenyon Drake to get it right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want both those guys in my lineup because it just feels like you're limiting your ceiling. Obviously, Allen scored every single week. Collins has scored 2. so they can both produce. The only way I would even consider that is if it's a PPR league, because Allen can get some catches and help you out. But it's a pretty low ceiling if you start them both. I still like Collins a little more explosive, going to get more touches. And like I said, I think Drake bounces back. What do I know? I thought he'd go off last week. But, we see this all the time in the NFL. And as soon as you jump ship from one guy, he comes back, and you say, well, why did that happen? I don't know. I don't know why Jesse James has 132 yards one week, gets one catch, and Vance McDonald has 100 yards the next. I can't explain it. It just happens all the time.
It's very strange. You're right about that. Another question coming in, Matt Latufsky, sportingnews.com, fantasy god. We have a question about tonight. Here's an interesting one. He wants to know, who do you think Xavier Rhodes will be shadowing tonight on the Rams? And does playing Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, does that make sense in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to know who he's going to shadow. I always think it'll probably be the top guy, which I think is Cooks. But look, they got 3 quality guys who all produce. So I think really anything can happen there. And the Rams offense is pretty automatic though. So I wouldn't be scared away from playing any of those 3. And with the Vikings, look, Rams have a good defense. They can generate a pass rush, but both starting corners likely out. I'm playing Diggs and Thielen all day tonight.
Yeah, all day, yeah. That's. I think it's going to be, especially with Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters out. I think this could get very interesting very quickly, and it'll be fun to watch and see how that unfolds. But I love having Thursday Night Football, college and NFL. So much going on here. What about? Oh, here's a trade question here. I like this. Anthony wants to know: would you trade Sonny Michael and Chris Carson for Le'Veon Bell if you already have James Conner?
God, Le'Veon Bell, man, he's just ruining everything. I probably wouldn't, just because I don't really like either of those backs. I think Michelle is the one who could really pop off, but boy, he has not looked good these first 2 weeks. Maybe he's just kept, he was out preseason. I'll give him a little bit of a pass. And with Burkhead out, you think he's going to be in line, but boy, I don't know. And Carson, 31 carries last week. That's awesome. He's in position to have a good game this week. But Seattle running backs, they just you can't trust them at all. So to make that move, I don't know. I feel like even Bell, with his value depreciating right now, you should still be able to get more. And if you have Connor, hey, you got a starter at least. You're not desperate.
Got another trade question here. I've been offered Tevin Coleman for Doug Baldwin. I am a little light in the wide receiver. Is this a good idea?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would take Baldwin. Look, he's an injury risk. I get that. But, I mean, Freeman's going to be back soon, and then Coleman's value plummets. And Freeman could get hurt again, and Coleman could be good. But I just think right there, you take the guy who's a number 1 receiver versus the running back who could be, getting 10 touches next week. So, yeah, I would go with Baldwin there.
And we've got Tommy's coming in, wants to know PPR league running back, James White or Alex Collins?
Yeah, that's a tough one because White always seems to get his no matter what the Patriots do. No, Burkhead helps him. But I do like Collins. Again, another guy I totally get why people are nervous about him. But you look at the Steelers, they've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown to a running back this year, but they're allowing 4.6 yards per carry. I think you can run on them if a team's committed to it. Baltimore's weird. Again, you never know what they're going to do with their backs, but I think I kind of like Collins this week. And PPR league, sure, you take White there, higher floor, but I think Collins has the higher ceiling.
And interesting here, half PPR league, should I continue to stash Ronald Jones III?
I mean, eventually he's going to. I mean, Peyton Barber's done nothing.
Nothing, right?
He's shown nothing, and I think he's going to get stuffed again this week against the Bears. Then they have a bye. It's only a matter of time before they have to play. As much as that coaching staff doesn't like them, it just seems like a matter of time. But look, the buys are here. You're going to need that roster spot, so it really comes down to that. I mean, if you just don't have the space, I don't think you should beat yourself up for dropping them. But I would try to hold on to him as long as possible.
All right, and is there a must start for you this week on Daily Fantasy? If is there somebody in there maybe won't be owned by 95% of the games? Somebody you're looking at that you think might be a solid play?
I mean, obviously, like I said, Shepard, but he is going to be highly owned. I'm just trying to think for my own lineups I put in, because there's certainly guys. It's funny when you see like what happened with the Falcons last week, the receivers. I think there's a tendency for people to go overboard on Ridley and underboard on like Julio Jones. Yeah. So he'll still be fairly highly owned. He's obviously very expensive, but I think this is an opportunity to get in on him at possibly his lowest ownership, and it's a favorable matchup there at home. So, like, I would look at some opportunities like that. I mean, you could even argue the same thing about Antonio Brown with the way Juju Smith-Schuster's playing. So, yeah, there's definitely some good opportunities for people in those situations. And I like Andy Dalton a lot this week, too.
Ooh.
I think that Falcons defense is garbage, and he'll keep throwing.
The Red Rocket, man. Keep him in mind. So that's why we love bringing you on. Matt Latufsky, sportingnews.com. Nobody does fantasy better than him. Make sure you follow him. Twitter, M. Latufsky, Sporting News. Great articles all week long. If you need some help with your fantasy team, he is definitely a guy to turn to. And, of course, he joins us every Thursday at 5 o'clock. So, Matt, appreciate the time, my friend. Good luck this weekend. Hope you win your leagues there, and then we'll talk again next Thursday.
All right, sounds good.
Appreciate it. Matt Latufsky, sportingnews.com. Always great stuff whenever you have a chance to talk with him. Love these fans. I love when I've been dealing with Matt now for about the last 3 or 4 years, and I've won a number of different leagues by listening to him and the staff that they have over there at sportingnews.com. Those fantasy guys are really, if you're looking for an outside opinion, we all have our guys that we like, but I can tell you right now, check out sportingnews.com, Matt Latufsky. Great stuff each and every week. Very knowledgeable. Vari is still throwing bombs at me here in the because I made fun of his Raiders. He's still throwing bombs at me over here because I'm wearing a University of Miami shirt, and we all know that the University of Miami is going to win this game tonight. The question is whether or not they're going to win by more than 17.5 points. So we will cover that. I'll give you some final thoughts. If you're just joining us here tonight, you're looking to place a little action on the game, well, first thing you should do, write down wagertalk.com. That's right, wagertalk.com. Love the guys over there. We'd already talked to Ralph Michaels a little bit earlier tonight, and if you missed that interview, have no fear. He's got some great knowledge not only on tonight's game, but this weekend's game, including tomorrow night. We got a couple of college football games. Some great information there. You can catch them at wagertalk.com, and then right here on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, right after the show ends here, the live broadcast ends, you'll be able to have access to that interview. Rewind it. Take a look at it, guys. I'm telling you, there was some solid information and some solid recommendations for picks this weekend that you're going to want to hear, but you can always get all of that information at wagertalk.com. So make sure that you guys head over to there. Coming up, we'll go ahead and give you our final thoughts on the play tonight. Get your number 2 pencil ready. I'm going to give you some winners. I promise you I'm going to make you some money, and we'll do that coming up next. But first, we got to thank our sponsors here, Resort Release. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you own a timeshare and you feel like you're getting bent over, have no fear. Resort Release is here. They'll be able to help you get rid of that timeshare that you don't want rather easily, too. And also, back pain getting you down, Laser Spine Institutes. Nobody better. Some of the best procedures happening right now at Laser Spine Institute. And I know a couple of people that have actually called that phone number there, 855-720-BACK. And they can't thank me enough that they did, because those guys were able to put them back on the right track. We went from guys not being able to bend over, in fact, some of these stories that we heard from, to being able to actually be athletic again. So some really great stuff happening. Laser Spine Institute. Make sure that you jot that number down in case you know anybody with any back trouble. And we'll get ready. We'll make you some money. We'll do that coming up next.
You want to go on a vacation or honeymoon? The Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Mexico? How about Disney or a cruise? At Superior Cruise and Travel, we've got you covered. We'll assign you your own travel concierge. They'll help you design a custom vacation plan that you can't find online. And the service is completely free. You can't compare the value of this to any other online travel company. We can help you plan a custom vacation anywhere in the world. We even offer payment plans with no credit card required. Now you pay off your vacation on your time schedule. Call now and mention the promo code RADIO and save up to $500. Book your custom trip. Call Superior Cruise and Travel now and talk to one of the highest-rated travel agencies in the country with a 5-star A+ online rating.
800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. That's 800-901-5536.
Were you scammed into signing a timeshare contract? And did you miss the part that said you have to pay for your great idea? Not only for the rest of your life, but when you're not here anymore, you get to pass this turkey onto your family for them to pay for the rest of their lives. Thanks, Dad. Don't burden your family down the road, and don't be stuck with expensive timeshare payments forever. Get out of your bad idea timeshare contract guaranteed, or pay nothing. Call Resort Release today and learn for free how their timeshare exit team can help you legally exit your timeshare contract. They've helped thousands of people, and they're A+ rated with a BBB. So if you feel scammed, get mad and get out of your expensive timeshare contract right now, guaranteed. Call NOW.
800-898-0816. 800-898-0816. 800-898-0816. That's 800-898-0816.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain. What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
Call 855-720-BACK. 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 That's 855-720-BACK.
Don't be such a pussy. Subscribe to the Say It With Me podcast with Joe Raineri on iTunes today.
Damn. Yeah, that would help do so, because she said so there. Welcome in. Happy Thursday to you. Getting excited. The U getting ready to take the field tonight. Hard Rock Stadium taking on North Carolina. Finally, a Power 5 conference game on a Thursday night. Something we can actually, put our teeth into here. And don't let the spread fool you. 17.5 points. Notoriously, especially over the last 5 years, these two teams have played it very close in this particular game. So Thursday night, short week. A bit of a quarterback controversy on both sides. Who you're going to go with, who they not going to go with. I happen to like the under here, 57.5. And I can tell you, Thursday night football college games, the under usually hits over 60% of the time. So that's a pretty big number when you look at the under and understand that really both of these teams' defense has been getting it done for them. And Miami's defense is going to show up. So I'm not sure. N'Kosi Perry, Malik Rozier, not sure what's going to go on. North Carolina, all of the players are back off suspension because they sold their sneakers. So they've got everyone back. So this is going to be Larry Fedora. He is not going to lay down. 17.5 points seems a bit over the top for me, but I do like the under better at 57.5. If you guys can get that number, jump all over it. That's one of my locks for tonight. And as we look at this Rams-Vikings game, some trends here, some stats that you guys need to know about this game. As of about an hour and a half ago, the betting action was pretty balanced. 53% of the spread tickets and 40% of the dollars being bet have been on the Rams. So I haven't seen a whole lot of sharp money come in yet because we haven't seen the line move all that much one way or the other. 7.5 right now is where it is. I've seen in some books it's 7. Others have seen it at 7.5. The Minnesota Vikings getting that. The trends to know, the Rams are undefeated against the spread this year, and they've been winning by more than 3 touchdowns per game heading into tonight. So they are only the 7th team to do this since 2003. They are on fire. Not to mention they've been playing high school teams like the Arizona Cardinals, but they still ended up getting the job done. 3 of the previous 6 teams that were able to do this, as a matter of fact, covering the spread by more than 3 touchdowns, 4 made the conference championship, and 6 teams averaged at least 12 wins, and 6 of them made the Super Bowl. So it bodes well for the LA Rams, given the fact of what they've done thus far through the first 3 games of the season. So I don't know. It's the first time in the last 25 years that 3 double-digit favorites have lost straight up in the first 3 weeks of the season. What is up is down in the NFL this year. All the public favorites have been getting destroyed. And when you have 3 double-digit teams straight up lose, one every week since the beginning of the season, that is a topsy-turvy NFL so far. So kind of hard for those that love to favor the public. They don't fade the underdogs, and yet the underdogs are what is winning most of the time here. So very interesting. We also know, I think, the matchup to watch, Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer, the head coach of the Vikings, as a road underdog since he's taken over the head coaching job at Minnesota, 14-7 against the spread. And that's since 2014. So anytime Mike Zimmer's Vikings have been on the road and been considered an underdog, 14-7. So that bodes pretty well for him. Tonight, it's all going to be about that offensive line of the Vikings taking on that defensive front of the Rams. We know that the Rams' biggest issue is their linebacking. Their linebacking core can be beat. They're not great. They can certainly be beat in the short passing game, which is going to bode pretty well for Kirk Cousins. If he can get the ball out of his hands and get it to Thielen, they can do some damage. It does look like Dalvin Cook is going to be running the ball tonight for the Vikings. And Kurt last week had absolutely 0 time to throw against Jerry Hughes and the Buffalo Bills. They lived in the backfield all day long. They weren't going to be able to get anything done. Keep this in mind. Their left tackle is back, and so is the center for the Minnesota Vikings. So they have gotten a little healthier on the offensive line. I think that's going to help them. And it better against the Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald and Michael Brockers. So they're going to need to be able to do that. That's protect Kirk Cousins, the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. But if the Vikings offensive line can hold up and give him enough time, I think Cousins will exploit the advantages on the outside with, of course, Stephon Diggs, one of the best outside threats in the NFL. And they do have one of the most talented group of pass catchers in the game. So I think they're going to be able to expose the mid-level there of the Rams defense, provided they can give Kirk Cousins an extra second or so to breathe back there instead of getting destroyed like the Bills did to him last week. So keep an eye on that. And also don't forget the secondary is pretty beat up there for the Rams. So the Rams are going to be without Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters. So that back level and the linebacking level, little suspect tonight for the Rams. They will be home, short week. But to me, this game, even on Monday, when the line came out late Sunday, early Monday, I had this as a -4 for the Rams, 3.5, 4. No way did I have it a touchdown or more. And right now, if you can get 7.5, to me, you jump all over it. I do think the Minnesota Vikings have plenty enough firepower to be able to expose the weaknesses that the Rams have. And the Rams haven't really played anybody with the offensive capabilities as the Minnesota Vikings or those kinds of true playmakers yet. So I anticipate that they'll be able to keep this game close. I don't think Minnesota's going to win, but I also don't think that the Rams are going to be winning by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns like they've done through the first 3 weeks. So that would be my parlay here tonight. Is I would take the Rams. I would take the Vikings getting 7.5, and I would take the under in the Miami, North Carolina game, that being about 57.5. College kids, Thursday night, notoriously, these games are they're not big scoring games. So 57 under, I think, is what it will be. So it'll be fun. It's a great night. Thursday night football, all sorts of fun there, not only for college, but also for the NFL. I think this is going to be a good test. We're going to learn a lot about the LA Rams and see just how good they are. And this is This is going to be very interesting for Mike Zimmer and the Vikings after that just abysmal defeat at home against the Bills. So expect them to come out. They will not be flat, I'll tell you that. This Minnesota Vikings team, Mike Zimmer will have them ready to play. This guy is fantastic on the road, especially in the underdog situation. So take those 7.5 and hurry up before it gets to -6. That all-important -7 or +7 rather. That's the number to keep it on. So if you can get it at 7.5, jump all over it tonight. So want to thank Vari, want to thank Jeremy, want to thank Jackie, Tommy, all you guys. Want to thank you very much for hanging out with us here today. Also, Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Love me some Ralph Michaels. Great stuff. If you didn't have a chance to catch the interview, as soon as we're done here, you'll be able to check it out right in the beginning of the show. We spent about 20 minutes diving into this weekend's action, both in college and the NFL. He gives you some of his favorite games to look at, so it's definitely worth noting. Take a look back, and while you're there, it's funny, and we talked about this earlier, how this works on social media. Is that in YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the only way they'll ever give us any credit or any exposure is if you guys will engage with us. So if you like what you see here, if you want to continue this experience and you want to hang out with us and you like this, then please like it, retweet it, share it, subscribe on YouTube, like the page on Facebook, like the videos on Facebook, tell your friends about it, and have them come in, because the more engaging we can be on social media, the better it will be for all of us. And as usual, I don't have to tell you guys, your support means the world to me. So I thank you guys. Let's keep it up. Let's keep building this thing up. Matt Latufsky, sportingnews.com. Some great stardom sit-em advice this weekend for the NFL and your fantasy leagues. That, too, you can get here. Just rewind it. As soon as we're done, you'll be able to catch all of his must-starts of the week. And there are a couple of very interesting ones, especially if you're hopping on FanDuel or DraftKings. So we were loaded today. A lot of great stuff, including you guys in the chat rooms. We love you very much. Thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 o'clock. We will break down our locks of the weekend NFL. We'll lay out all the parlays. We'll lay out all the teasers. We'll lay out all the ways you can make money this weekend, and we'll do that tomorrow on the show, 4 o'clock. So have a great night. Be safe. Enjoy the games. We'll cover them again tomorrow. Come back and see us. Be well, guys. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day.